Together, Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi have cast a vivid light on an entire era in their sport. When they meet each other in a championship final, there's the sense that the present is in harmony with history. That the two best players should always be the last two standing. Today, Sampras plays Agassi for the Tennis Masters Series in Indian Wells. It's the 14th time they've faced each other with a championship in the balance. No one can say when or if it'll happen again, but it's ours to treasure today. A rivalry for the ages, Sampras versus Agassi, is next on ESPN. Tennis is a sport of one-on-one that gives birth to natural rivalries like Labour Rosewall, the Iceman Borg against the frantic John McEnroe, and the aggressive Martina Navratilova against the All-American girl, Chris Evert. Now this rivalry continues. The first time they took center stage together was in the Eternal City, Rome, in 1989. The empire that they built has dominated tennis ever since. Very warm welcome, everyone, to a sun-drenched Indian Wells. Today you can call it the Valley of the Tennis Gods. This is the men's final of the 2001 Tennis Masters Series, Indian Wells, Andre Agassi and Pete Sampras. It is warm, still, dry, in fact, just like it has been all tournament long, ideal for tennis. Friendly hello, everybody. I'm Cliff Drysdale. Well, you may question Pete Sampras and whether he has been the best player of all time, but I don't think anybody will question that he has been the best player of the last decade. He's in action today against a man who, in my opinion, and without a doubt for the last 2 years, has been the best player. Well, the last time that these two played against each other with the Australian Open was last year. We said it was going to be a classic, and it turned out to be a classic. And Patrick McEnroe, truly, I think this one is, again, going to be a classic. When you look at the history of these two guys, the parallels are so interesting.
It is amazing, Cliff, and it's amazing that they haven't played since the 2000 Australian Open. It's unfortunate in a way, but we remember way back when both these guys started out as teenagers on the tennis scene. Of course, for both of them, especially Pete Sampras. Look who he beat in this first Grand Slam final, Andre Agassi at the U.S. Open. Then in the 90s, Sampras went on, of course, to dominate the Grand Slam scene, especially at Wimbledon. But Agassi, he had some success of his own on the lawns at Wimbledon, winning his first slam, surprisingly, at the great Wimbledon Championships. And Agassi has held up a Grand Slam trophy 6 more times as Agassi has done that. He's got 7 slams. Agassi, Sampras, of course, with 13. And for the Tennis Masters Series events, Sampras with 11, Agassi trying to make it 11 today.
So, Patrick, you talk about the ATP Tour and the fact that they are trying to promote these new young guns, the new balls please campaigners here. Well, they all showed up here, but where are they? They're out of here. The two big guns are left.
Well, you can be sure that the fellas at the ATP are just fine and happy with who they have in this final today in Sampras and Agassi. Of course, these are and always will be, as long as they're playing, the two heavyweights of the men's game. They've still dominated into the 90s and now into the 2000 as well. Pete Sampras, he's done it again at Wimbledon. He's won it 7 times. And Andre Agassi, though he has been the best player in the last couple of years, Cliff, he's done it especially at the Australian Open, where he's won the last 2 Grand Slams there. And how about the turnaround for Agassi in the last couple of years? The way he's resurrected his career from 140 in the world back to finishing #1 in '99. And just look at that Grand Slam history for Agassi. In those first couple of years, well, the first 10 years, in fact, the 12 years, he struggled. He was up and down. He only won 3 majors, but look what he's done in the last couple of years. He's won 4 of the last 9 slams he's played. Pete Sampras, well, he hasn't won a slam other than Wimbledon since '97. And the all-time head-to-head of these two heavyweights, Sampras leads 17-12. But because of what he's done. I think Agassi in the last couple of years, he may be the favorite in this one. Sampras, though, has, of course, dominated Wimbledon. Who can forget what he did last year when he beat Patrick Rafter in the finals? Rafter had taken out Agassi in the semis in a classic. Sampras won his 13th slam there. But I believe right now at this stage of their career that Agassi has to be the slight favorite. Earlier I would have said Sampras, but now I think Agassi, because of the consistency, because of his fitness level, and because he wants to catch up to Mr. Sampras.
Boy, we're going to find out. I hope that you heard in the background there the kind of introduction that these two have got from this crowd here at Indian Wells. How different from yesterday and the boos for Serena Williams. It is the Indian Wells Tennis Master Series. Agassi Sampras live next.
How can you provide for the future of the people who depend on you? With the power of Pacific Life. For over 130 years, Pacific Life has improved the lives of millions with investments, annuities, and insurance. Because careful planning today can help them reach their dreams tomorrow. Discover the power of Pacific Life.
Your balls, please.
Lost to Agassi at the Australian back in '95 in the final there. 13-3 Sampras in Grand Slam singles finals.
I think it's more important for Sampras to win the first set than for Agassi, frankly, because it's best of 5.
You think Agassi's fitter?
Yes, I do.
Sampras broke the string on that return, but still managed to get it in play and win the point. Sampras is in pretty good condition, though, Cliff. I think he's been working very hard this year. I mean, he's had a lot of time to work hard because he hasn't played that many matches. I'm not so sure that Agassi clearly has the edge in that area. His fitness department.
Out of reach. I'm glad to hear you say it. I certainly don't want his lack of fitness to be a factor in this match. I hope they play 5 sets, and I hope they go crazy for 3 and then some hours worth of great tennis. How to reach that one, 2 in a row for Sampras, but Agassi's still at game point.
Oh. And the return cross court opening up that backhand up the line.
4-3 first set, big point coming up.
Sampras step into this one right inside the baseline.
Big moment here for Sampras. He's got a break point. Served last game into the sun, served a couple of double faults, got into a little trouble, climbed his way out of trouble. He's ahead 4-3 down in this game, love 40. Now break point Sampras. Sails. Deuce.
Oh boy, did Agassi have to work hard in that point. Great defending from Agassi there, starting right from the return, which Sampras hit cleanly. Agassi, though, using his great footwork to keep Sampras at bay in that point.
Advantage Agassi.
The other thing Agassi doing now in these crucial points, getting the first serve in.
That one sails wide. ESPN's coverage of the final round beginning at 5:30 this afternoon. The LPGA Standard Register Ping. Annika Sorenstam, what a great round the other day. She still leads from Moon Valley Country Club in Phoenix. That's at 5:30 this afternoon, following our tennis coverage. 59 she shot.
First female to ever do that, right, Cliff?
Yeah, I mean, it's a record.
Line 50.
When you shoot below 60.
Yeah. Love 15, 4 apiece.
All.
All these young guys, Cliff, coming up with huge serves, the Safins of the world, just bombing serves, but no one has the consistency and the placement on the serve that Sampras has. No one can hit the corners. No one can hit the big second serve when they need it. No one can keep you guessing on the return the way Sampras can with the same toss, the same motion. You never know what's going to come. Of course, he double faults.
That's his 5th. It's a lot. I mean, an average of a double fault every game.
Four all 30 all first set.
Still, Agassi hasn't had a break point.
Pace off that one.
40.
Beautifully cut there. Let's see the way he's divvied up the serves. Going wide quite a bit in that deuce court. Trying to keep it away from Agassi's strength in his body. That one, another good one there. Another unreturnable.
Sampras holds on. He has the lead 5-4. Agassi will serve. We're on serve. First set, best of 5. The best tennis players in the world play in the Tennis Masters Series. And like all great competitors, they disagree on just about everything. Which tournaments to play, surfaces, line calls, playing styles, even which language to argue in. But there's one thing they agree on. The ball. The Penn Tennis Masters Series ball. Made for the pros. Available to you.
Still getting flakes? Maybe the problem is your dander shampoo. Neutrogena T-Gel works on all 3 major causes of flakes, which makes T-Gel head and shoulders above, well, you know who. Neutrogena T-Gel, recommended #1 by dermatologists.
It seems like they were thinking about it from the beginning.
In the 1930s, they built their first safety test vehicle.
In '51, they patented front and rear crumple zones.
In 1960, they patented their safety steering system.
And pioneered anti-lock brakes in '78.
In 1997, they built a more crash-compatible SUV.
Now they have vehicles with 8 airbags.
Because one thing has always been most important.
Now get the Wall Street Journal delivered for 8 weeks at just 37 cents a day, a 50% savings. Call now 800-854-2200. That's 800-854-2200 for the Wall Street Journal.
Tennis Masters Series Indian Wells Championship match. Agassi and Pete Sampras, who says that at the most basic level, this game of tennis comes easily to me. I was born with the right genes, I guess.
Was he looking at his speed on the serve there? 21 was the last serve he hit.
That is a great shot. Love 15. Agassi serving 4-5. Sampras says that he's not one to go through all those motions as you watch him in the replay here, to psychologists and complicated charts breaking down his game. He's obviously interested in his serve speed, though. But he says that
15.
I just operate a little more naturally.
Well, when you got all the natural talent that he does, you can get away with that.
Likes to keep things simple. 15 all.
You know, Cliff, I remember asking Pete a year and a half ago after that great win over Agassi when he played that flawless match in the final in '99. So I said, well, Pete, how do you do it? What is it something, you know, you say to yourself? And he says, you know, I really don't know how I do it. He says, I just know that at that point I have to bring out my best. And he says, I'm just able to do it. Well done by Agassi. Sampras not attacking that backhand cross-court enough. Hitting it a little bit too short.
The late great Arthur Ashe, Patrick, used to talk about being in the zone. And when you've got Sampras's kind of talent, I guess you get in the zone more often than most. 30 all.
Just missed it.
Great point by Sampras there. Vicious slice. I mean, he's throwing different looks at Agassi, and he's got a set point now. I mean, Patrick, how many times have you been there? You get a shot there and you're looking at it, you say, I got this one, baby, and he just didn't even come close. A perfect setup for his favorite ground stroke, the forehand, and he sprayed it. Deuce.
Beautifully hit there by Agassi. Right into the corner with that backhand. I think Sampras made a tactical error there. He did not go to try to attack that second serve because it was hittable there.
Game point.
Each and every swing now is just crucial.
Yes, sir. And they're both going for the lines, too. Angle from Agassi. Sampras out of court, having to do too much with it. It sails long. What a chance Sampras had. Set point there. Agassi has, let's see, not had a break point yet. Sampras has had 4, and that last time was also a set point, as Andre Agassi's coach Brad Gilbert watches. He's smiling now because
heck, everyone's going to enjoy this one, Cliff. I mean, this has so far been extremely well played first set.
Sampras really let him off the hook, though.
It's so interesting too, Cliff. It's not. It is so much that they're both going for the lines. Oh, but it's also now that they know that when they don't go for the lines, they're going to pay the price, as Sampras did on that deuce point on the second serve from Agassi. He didn't go for a return, and then Agassi punished him on the next shot. Look at this pickup from Sampras, keeping those legs down low, using his balance, body weight going forward.
that is a very good point, Patrick. I mean, what you're looking at here is the two heavyweights in the game, and they know that ordinary tennis is not going to do it.
Again, the movement and the effort from Agassi pays off. He was in trouble here. Sampras with a good first volley, good depth, but Agassi gets there. Look at that flick of the wrist. Just made Sampras hit one more ball. Five all, 15 all.
$30, 50.
126.
Oh, that's a great volley from Sampras. Yesterday you were saying, Patrick, that you felt that these two sort of understand now what they have meant to the game at this ripe old age of 30.
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, because they know that we and the media and the fans treasure these matchups between the two of them. They've won 20 slam titles between them. This lady has won 22 on her own in singles.
Sampras say, excuse me, Andre, that's the way it goes. Watch it again. Clean winner. I'll take it.
Still don't know what I was waiting for, and my time was running
Today,
wild.
companies are struggling with the complexities of the net, trying to make intranets, extranets, the internet, and multiple software platforms work together, simply and securely, as one net. Well, now they can. With Net Services software from Novell. The power to change.
You want to watch a hit movie on DirecTV, but your day's so busy you think it's not for me. You gotta drop the kids and your dog needs a walk when the really good part comes. That's when Mama calls to talk. But just look for the all-day ticket, pay once. And when you're ready, you can pick it all day till 6 a.m. Eastern. So when you're watching the show and you really gotta go, just get all-day ticket. And when you're ready, you can pick it. Dynamite, dynamite! Know what I'm saying? All-day ticket.
Tonight on ESPN SportsCenter with the day's breaking news. Then ESPN Primetime featuring an NCAA tournament special, followed by the Red Wings Sharks. On ESPN2 Primetime, an NCAA Women's Championship doubleheader, followed by the National Cheerleading Championships, plus scores and news on the bottom line. And on ESPN Classic, a night Mets fans will never forget, and a real classic, The Great White Hope, starring James Earl Jones. Do you have all the ESPN networks?
Sampras in the lead. He has a look at Agassi serving in the last game. This is set point for Sampras. How big a point was this, folks? You can see Agassi pretty much in control of this point, and then just take a look at what happens here in a second as Sampras turns the table on him here. Now look at that, freeze it there. Here is his chance. Set point, remember, now let it roll. What does he do? Set point for Sampras. Bam, wide. Agassi stays in it, and he's still in the set. Agassi serving again now, trailing 5-6.
Well, Pete has been the one putting the pressure on the Agassi serve. 4 break points Agassi has faced. That one set point that we just showed you. And again, the backhand up the line from Sampras working.
Little gaze there from Sampras on that backhand, just long, but it clearly was.
Sampras really unloaded on that forehand and that point, almost right down the middle of the court. But Agassi is handling the pace from Sampras so well. Sampras trying to mix it up. The chip charge, but look at Agassi take this ball on the rise, take it early. Watch the way Agassi steps into the court, lines it up, give him a target. He'll hit it 9 out of 10 times.
Hit it from Sampras, and then Agassi punishes it.
Well, that doesn't go down as a winner for Agassi, Cliff, but it's just as good as one. I mean, it's very hard to actually hit winners against Sampras in baseline rallies because Pete stands so far behind the baseline and he's so quick. And a good penetrating grounding from Agassi for an easy hold.
You're watching live coverage, everyone, of the Tennis Masters Series, Indian Wells. Cliff Drysdale, Patrick McEnroe alongside. It's the championship match. Pete Sampras versus Andre Agassi. Agassi so far in trouble a lot more on his serve than Sampras has been. No break points yet on his serve, and it is now tie-break time. First to 7 with a 2-point lead wins the first set. This is best of 5 sets.
In their 12th tiebreak, they've played against each other, very close in that department. 6-5 Sampras. They played 2 in that Australian Open Classic last year.
1-0.
Agassi won the crucial tiebreak in the 4th. And went on to win it 6-1 in the 5th.
Mini break to Agassi.
Few errors Agassi's made from the back of the court. That was good defense by Sampras in that point. Off a big inside-out forehand from Andre. Now 1 apiece.
First serve.
Agassi's only made 5 errors in the match. Talk about knowing when to tighten your game up. He made over 40 against Hewitt in the semis yesterday.
Sampras is really the one who's making things happen in this match. I mean, if you look at the unforced errors and the total winners, 18 and 17 respectively, and then for Agassi only 5 and 6. As you pointed out, though, Patrick, sometimes it's tough to call what is a winner. It's sort of a subjective judgment. Or an unforced error, for that matter. 2-1 Agassi in the breaker.
Wow. 2 doubles in the tiebreak for Pete Sampras.
7 double faults in all. Still an average of 1 a game. Balanced by that.
Ace number 4 or 5 make that for Sampras.
Mini break, Agassi 3-2. He leads. He'll serve 2 serves, and after the next point, our change ends, and the sun will be behind Agassi. Agassi 4-2.
2 doubles, Cliff, and 2 pretty wild forehands from Sampras so far in this tiebreak, giving Agassi his 4 points. Agassi has in many ways so far, Cliff, weathered the onslaught of Sampras. Great defensive play, making Pete come up with 1-2 more shots and a point. And Agassi too consistent.
Don't forget that set point either that Sampras had on Agassi's serve. A very makeable forehand that he sprayed. Agassi has the advantage now. 4-2. Back on serve in the tiebreak.
Tough 1-2 from Sampras there. A nasty slice that Agassi handled pretty well. And then Pete took a chance, Cliff. Ran well around that backhand to hit that forehand, and he forced the error from Agassi. Dude, that's one of those ones that you're talking about. That, I mean, to me, that's almost as good as a winner. It's a forcing shot from Sampras. 3-4.
Now what? Oh, he took so little off that second serve, albeit that he served 7 double faults already. Agassi also with there's so much tension here because just watch this here. He's got a shot at this one here.
I think he felt a little bit of it here, Agassi.
Exactly.
Because he had a good long look at that pass.
4-4 tiebreak, first set.
Look at Agassi. He read that serve. He was looking for it up the middle. What does Sampras do here? Will he go for the big one out wide? Agassi sat on it. Came right into the wheelhouse of Agassi, that backhand return.
Not only didn't he go wide, but Agassi did not agree with you there, Patrick, and he was right on top of it.
He really was. Look at that. He measured it, timed it perfectly. Now he can serve out set number 1.
Sampras hasn't chipped and charged in a while. The last time that he did, he got passed thoroughly. That will go wide. Back even at 5 apiece.
You know what, Cliff? Agassi had only been into net once in the tiebreak. I mean, in the whole set. He didn't want to come in there, but he was forced to come in. And Sampras kept his cool, made Agassi stretch out where he's not comfortable.
5-5. Missed it. 6.
Same one that he had on the set point there. That time he barely missed it.
Now set point for Agassi. His first. Agassi has not had a break point on Sampras' serve.
2 doubles for Sampras in this tiebreak.
Double faults. Now what does he do? Beautifully played point from both guys. Sampras going for the big second serve with the forehand, the return. At his feet, he comes into the net, and Agassi with a tremendous passing shot on set point. He's won the set.
Well, he saved 1 set point, and boy, did Agassi take a rip at that pass. He's won set number 1.
How can you provide for the future of the people who depend on you? With the power of Pacific Life. For over 130 years, Pacific Life has improved the lives of millions with investments, annuities, and insurance. Because careful planning today can help them reach their dreams tomorrow. Discover the power of Pacific Life.
Are you ready to see yourself as others see you? I didn't know I was so gray. Now escape that old gray look with Just for Men. More than a hair color, it's the Rejuvenator. Just for Men shampoos away gray in 5 easy minutes and now has vitamins. It brings back a thicker, healthier look that's completely natural.
I like what I see.
Just for Men. More than a hair color, it's the Rejuvenator.
I'm not quite sure how to tell you this.
What is it?
You've only got 40 years left to live. Maybe 45, 50 times.
Agassi's won the first set, make no mistake about it. He feels really good about his game these days.
I'm better now because I'm a better athlete now. I'm stronger now, I'm fitter now, I move better now, and that's the fundamental of my game is my movement. If I can move well and move for a long period of time, when I get to that ball, I'm going to have options, and that's what I believe in most about my game now is that I'm a smarter player because I have more options and I'm experienced, and all that can come together because physically I'm in position to do that.
First point, second set. Goes to Sampras. Agassi serving off 15. First set to Agassi in a tiebreak. Patrick, what is it that makes a 30-year-old that's probably worth $120 million work so hard to stay on top of world tennis? What's his motivation?
Well, I think it's to get the most out of himself, and I think he for a number of years did not do that. Because he's one of the greats. I mean, it's like you say the same thing about Michael Jordan. Why did he want to come back? Why did he want to do it year after year? Because it's a drive. You know, it's a drive, the intensity of a champion. Look at that, 6 titles since turning 29 is remarkable for those slams. There's a perfect example of what Andre was just talking about. That movement, the fitness, the desire, giving him options. Look at the way he fights this point, fights it all the way through, and then letting his talent take over. But his talent not able to take over if he doesn't have those wheels. He's running up those hills in Las Vegas in December. That's what gives him those options, Cliff.
30-15.
No call. Agassi looking for one.
And the first set is one, as you can see, 12 of the 13 lost matches between these two. Now, I suspect that if you check the history between most, when you win the first set, chances are you're going to win the match, but maybe not to that extent.
I think Sampras has to take a few more risks like he did on that return. Just whack a couple. Try to send the message as well to Agassi that he's going to attack the serve. Agassi, Cliff, is playing too well for Sampras to play with any sort of defense.
I agree. He's got a set and one game in hand now. Detroit Red Wings versus the San Jose Sharks. That's on ESPN tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. NHL rules, telecasts help long-time and first-time hockey fans understand terminology, strategy, and the intricacies of the game. Detroit led by captain and 1,600-point scorer Steve Eiserman. San Jose led by captain Owen Nolan. This is a full national telecast, by the way, so if you live in Detroit or San Jose and you want to see this game, you can see it only on ESPN. For more, log on to ESPN.com, everyone. Pete Sampras trailing Andre Agassi. 1 set now, 1 game to love. Agassi not yet broken Sampras. He won the first in the tiebreak. No service breaks yet.
And Sampras has been mostly employing that tactic, Cliff, I mean, we told you about the stats where he has a lot more winners and unforced errors. But I think he even has to do it more now. He has to take more chances because it's obvious that Agassi's not going to miss. He's only made 5 errors so far.
So what happened to that guy who made over 40 errors in 3 sets yesterday? He has tightened up his game as Agassi.
15.
That's obviously also a different matchup because Sampras is coming in a lot more and keeping the points shorter, but certainly Agassi had a sort of not relaxed, but he knew, he had a confidence that his best wasn't completely necessary against Leighton Hewitt yesterday.
Yeah, but the real truth is it is a completely different matchup, as you said, because Leighton Hewitt hardly, I mean, he comes in to pick up a chip. That's about it. Shake hands. But Pete Sampras, completely different, much more all-round type player. 30-15 Sampras.
7 aces now for Sampras to go with his 7 double faults.
Sampras was saying that Agassi's life, at least in Sampras's eyes, is pretty together, Patrick. He's been with longtime girlfriend Steffi Graf now after his divorce from Brooke Shields. Would you agree with that? It seems to me that way.
Oh, definitely. I think he's, you know, his focus and his concentration is all towards his tennis now. And certainly Steffi has enough experience in that department to know what that's about.
Game point Sampras.
Game 6.
1 game more.
1 game more.
Whereas Sampras, on the other hand, has always had that focus on his tennis in his life, and to some degree, it's changed a little bit for Pete because he's gotten married recently. He's moved back to Los Angeles. He's getting out more. He goes to the Laker games a little bit more. You know, he's trying to have more of a life other than just that tunnel vision of the tennis that has been his life for so long.
15.
Agassi last year, he says hurt by, and I agree with, he's having to travel to Zimbabwe after winning the Australian Open singles.
Out.
That's why it took a lot out of him physically.
13.
And then the illness of both his mother and sister. In the latter part of the year, he was not focused, not concentrated. This year, though, those things all seem to be behind him.
Oh! 14. 40-50.
So difficult right now to find a chink in Agassi.
Yeah. Just what I was thinking, and albeit that Sampras has not faced a break point, I mean, time is still, I think, on Agassi's side.
40-30.
That's the first double of the day for Agassi, Cliff. And his first serve percentage still way up there at 75%. Remarkably consistent tennis from Agassi so far.
This is the 30th meeting between the two. It is Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi. Agassi leading.
Black gold. You can make money in oil if you know where to look. Janice drills into companies by looking in person, by walking a pipeline that also carried phone cable. Janice saw how one oil company found new revenue streams, so dips in oil prices wouldn't have them over a barrel. By tracking down the story, Janice found a stock worth gushing about. Get there. Janice Mutual Funds.
You've worked hard, and as you plan for the future of the people who depend on you, you search for the right financial partner. In Pacific Life, you found it. Nearly half the Fortune 500 rely on the Pacific Life family of companies. With over 130 years of experience and more than $300 billion of managed assets. For your family or for business, discover the power of Pacific Life.
Welcome back, everyone, to the desert of California, Indian Wells. Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi. First set to Agassi in a tiebreak. He leads 2-1 in the second. Sampras to serve. Sampras hasn't been broken yet. 30th time that they are playing against each other, these two, and only twice before, one in '92, has Agassi been able to win back-to-back matches against Sampras. The other time was in '95 when he won Key Biscayne, and then they played later in the year in Montreal at the Canadian Open. Last time they played, Agassi won it. It was at the Australian in 2000.
15.
17 and 12 overall. Sampras leading Agassi in their head-to-head rivalry.
Agassi at 60% of returns in play. Still hasn't broken Sampras, though.
13.
Sampras serving in this game with new balls. Really flying through the air quickly. This desert air. Agassi's never won this event, Cliff, believe it or not, having grown up in fairly similar conditions in Las Vegas. He's lost to Sampras in the final once back in '95 and one other year. He has won it twice, but the last time was here in '95. Sampras won that in straight sets, 7-5, 6-3, 7-5. By far the most tournament he's played without winning. Agassi. Routine hole for Sampras there.
2 apiece, second set.
2 games on.
Pete Sampras says that he generally keeps people at arm's length. Pretty good at separating his tennis from all the other stuff. Not a lot of people in his life, he says, not that many acquaintances. But he says, I do know what I want.
I think that's starting to change a little bit for Pete. I think that's one of the reasons he moved back to California. Jeff, I think certainly living in Florida and Tampa for many years, as you see a replay of this huge forehand from Sampras, was good for Sampras' tennis, but he felt like he was away from his family, his friends, not much else to do there for him.
Says that his mom was the rock of his family. He used to feed him Pete tennis balls, and he was so crazy about the game. As just a kid, started out dirt poor, moved to this country from Greece, not speaking a word of English.
Sampras is throwing everything at Agassi, trying to figure out some way to make Andre miss, or at least to make him give Sampras a short ball, but nothing is working. Sliced his backhand there, put some real nasty slice on a few of those. Agassi will not give in anything right now. Just continues to make shots, get in perfect position from the baseline, force Sampras to come up with something spectacular to win a point, especially a baseline point.
Agassi holds on, and he has a lead 3 games to 2. The players will take a break. We'll join them. First set, Agassi in a tiebreak. This is the championship match.
New balls, please.
Coming in April, the ESPN Action Sports and Music Awards, fueled by Mountain Dew. Join host Rebecca Romaine Stamos, LL Cool J, and Chris Klein. Plus, the first ever live TV performance by the original members of Black Sabbath. One stage, one night. The athletes of action sports and the music that fuels them. Special appearances by Tony Hawk, Gabrielle Reese, and Tom Green. Music performances by Black Sabbath, Ben Harper, De La Soul, Busta Rhymes. The ESPN Action Sports and Music Awards, fueled by Mountain Dew. April 10th on ESPN.
The controls.
Do 180.
Get out.
We gotta get one of those.
I told you not to let him try.
Agassi's won the first set, 3-2 in the second. Agassi. Patrick McEnroe asked Pete Sampras yesterday how important it is for him to be #1 now.
It's not really a huge concern. I'd love to get back up to #1, and really, in order to do that, you need to play all the Big 9 and all the slams. And I'm not sure if I intend to do that, but I feel like I've done that. You know, I've done that in my career, and having done it for a number of years. And you know, maybe it's time for someone else to deal with the pressure of being ranked #1. You know, that's why I'm losing my hair. So, so it definitely isn't as much a priority as it used to be.
Made it a priority for a while, didn't he? He was #1 at the end of the year, 6 straight years.
It was that last year that really took it out of him, though, Cliff. Remember when he was chasing it? He spent about 6-7 straight weeks in Europe to secure that record. At that moment, he was tied with Connors. It was 15-love here at 2-3. For having finished #1 5 consecutive years, he really wanted to break that record. He did it. He finished 6 straight years at #1. If it happens, it happens. But Sampras isn't going to go after it and play the number of weeks necessary just to make that happen.
You know, Patrick, he said that he never felt that he got the recognition he deserved for that achievement. 2 occasions, actually. One was that Davis Cup win over Russia, and the other one was that.
And that's rubbish. We give him the recognition. I mean, we in the tennis world, and people that really know give it to him.
30,
I don't buy that. There's a solid pass here from Agassi. Look at the way he hooks it in there.
Clean winner, 30-15 for Sampras.
That's a good play from Agassi there. Taking a little bit off that return, making Sampras hit the half volley. I think Pete has a little more trouble at net creating something off of a softer ball. He's very quick and he can handle pace very well, Sampras, but that one at his feet, much more difficult. Some players come in, they don't have real quick hands, they don't react that well. Sampras does that well. There it is again. The sense now, Sampras
30, 40.
A little bit out of rhythm coming to net. Pressure from Agassi starting to wear on him. The consistency from Agassi. Break point. First of the day for Andre.
Deuce.
You're watching live coverage, everyone, of the Tennis Masters Series, Indian Wells. Cliff Drysdale, Patrick McEnroe in the championship match. Sampras and Agassi. First set, tiebreak, Agassi. He leads 3-2 in the second. Deuce with Sampras serving. We're on serve in set 2. Best of 5. Now game point Sampras. Sampras not been broken. No breaks of serve in the match yet, in fact. Major League Baseball Players Association 2001 Big League Challenge. Major League Baseball's biggest hitting stars out to prove who the biggest slugger in the game today is in the Ultimate Home Run Contest. You can see the tournament progress every weeknight rather, at 5:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Tomorrow's coverage features a first-round matchup between Mike Piazza and Frank Thomas, the Big Hurt. For more information, log on to ESPN.com.
50.
Agassi with his second ace.
But you were saying, Patrick, before the last break about Agassi's game and the way he plays against Sampras, what Sampras has got to do. I'm wondering whether you think that is he doing anything different today that he does against anybody else?
You talking about Agassi?
Yeah, because the things that you were saying, and as I was saying, I'm thinking, well, you know, he could be talking about playing against Kafelnikov.
I think he is. Well, I'm not sure he's doing it different, but he's doing it better, and he knows he has to do it better. I think he is taking a little bit off his first serve. He's at almost 80% now. I think that's an adjustment he's making just against Sampras.
Right.
He might do that against someone like a Krajicek or someone that is going for a lot of winners, and he knows from the back of the court. But generally, he is making an adjustment.
Out.
Called long, and the game goes to Agassi. Sampras not very happy with that call at 40 glove. It's probably not a bad time for that to happen. If it was indeed a bad call, I don't think it was. 4-3, Agassi leads. No breaks yet.
I no longer have to rush home or be at home at a certain time to watch my favorite shows.
With TiVo, it's you tell it what program you want to watch, you press a button, and it's done.
TiVo records things automatically for me by my selecting a season pass.
And it will record them whenever they come on, even if they change times.
With TiVo, you're in control of what you're watching.
TiVo is the simplest thing on the planet Earth.
Learn more at TiVo.com.
It's magic.
will happen in 2001? Find out with Mega March Madness as DirecTV supplements CBS Sports' coverage of the first 3 rounds of the NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Tournament for just $49. See up to 37 games from outside your market and find out who will play Cinderella at this year's Big Dance. Tune to Channel 218 and order Mega March Madness today.
Par, birdie. Whoa, par. Must be a Golf Magazine subscriber. Call now for your free trial issue and learn how to shave 3, 4, or 5 strokes off your game. Add 20 yards to your tee shots, improve your short game, shoot lower, and play the best golf of your life. Call now for your free trial issue of Golf Magazine. If you like it, get 11 more issues, 12 in all for just $15.94. Plus, get this terrific Golf Magazine gear bag free with your paid subscription. Call the toll-free number on your screen now.
Agassi won the first set in a tie-break. In the second set, he leads 4 games to 3. Sampras about to serve. This is the championship match, everyone. Here's a look at that last point, as it clearly did hit the line there. So Pete Sampras had a lot to argue about and would have liked to, but it was 40 love after all. And Agassi won the game. Bad call there against Sampras, but that is, there's never a good time for bad call, I guess. But if there is, that's the best. 4-3, Agassi leads. He's up a set.
Sampras cannot afford to take anything off the first serve or not place it perfectly, because this is what'll happen. See Agassi not having to stretch, hitting the winner up the line. Players have to be so precise with their strengths. Agassi's been doing it with his ground strokes, with his consistency. Sampras has to do it with that serve. Oh, yes. Agassi timing it right off the ground, hooking it. Here it is. Not a great return. Sampras gets it pretty deep on the return, on the volley. Agassi there in plenty of time again, not having to move, not having to get out of position.
Agassi has had 1 break point only in this match.
That was in Sampras' last service game, though, Cliff.
Now love 30.
He's starting to get a beat on the Sampras serve.
Yep. Second serve. 3 break points for Agassi.
See, Sampras has just taken a little bit off his shots. He's not going for enough. Look, Agassi again in perfect position. 3 clean winners from Agassi to give him 3 break points.
Saves 1. Agassi and Sampras, the last standing of the 4 Musketeers. Although Chang's still out there trying his best. Jim Courier has hung up the rackets. That one sails wide, so he saves 2. In fact, it is Sampras who says that Chang made the first move, and he did when he won the French in '89, and then Sampras won the Open in '90. But then he said, I disappeared while Jim Courier went on a tear. And Agassi was in the thick of it all the way along. That sails, and Sampras has won 3 in a row. So Agassi has had 4 chances to break now without any success. That is a great shot.
Wow. I think that Agassi was feeling pretty confident when he saw Sampras stay back and take a little bit off that second serve. Pete answers on a huge point for him, especially being a set down. unloads on the backhand up the line. It's his 5th backhand winner. I think they've all been down the lines.
That was a great comeback game from Sampras. Down left 40. And with Agassi starting to climb right on top of his serve, he came through, played a brilliant game, and it is even at 4 apiece. Still no service breaks in this match yet.
With the defense there, and maybe more importantly, making Sampras move, making him run more. Love. Again, Agassi getting Sampras on the move. Points.
Game,
Agassi easily holding on 5 games to 4. Sampras will serve, and we come back to our live coverage of this championship match. Indian Wells.
There's always a combination of taking a knowledge and applying it. For example, I know who the shooter is. I know what he does, what he thinks, under stress, how he'll act, what's his favorite thing to do, what's his least favorite thing to do. And I got most of my rebounds before he took the shot.
Knowledge is the edge. At Invesco Funds, it's the approach we use to make money for investors. You should know what Invesco knows.
About it from the beginning.
In the 1930s, they built their first safety test vehicle.
In 51, they patented front and rear crumple zones.
In 1960, they patented their safety steering system.
And pioneered anti-lock brakes in 78.
In 1997, they built a more crash-compatible SUV.
Now they have vehicles with 8 airbags.
Because one thing has always been most important.
2 biggest names in men's tennis for the championship here. The first Tennis Masters Series of the year. Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi. Agassi won the first set in the tiebreak and leads 5-4 now.
If it was possible, Agassi has tightened up his game. Look at that. Unreal. 1 unforced error in the second set. 5 in the first set, which of course was a tiebreak. He's put the pressure on Sampras in the second set so far. He's the one with the break point opportunities. They're the winners by set. Sampras with a lot more in the set number 1. The gap a lot smaller in the second set. They both had 4 break points, Cliff. Sampras's all came in the first set, including 1 on a set point. Agassi's have all come in the last 2 service games for Sampras.
15 loves Sampras.
If there were anyone else in the world, you say it's almost a certainty that Agassi's going to break and that he's starting to get, really get a stranglehold on this match. But with Sampras and his ability to hit the serve and his ability to hit a couple of winners out of nowhere, that he's always in it.
It's what I was thinking one serve game ago, Patrick, when he had love 40. Oh, he got it. That will be the shot of the match. On the line.
40, comes right back.
Yep.
Ace number 11, or number 12 now.
Spin lob is perfect.
It's just a treat, isn't it?
Yes.
To watch the shot making of both these guys. Agassi, we saw him hit the little dink on the dead run and then the top spin lob. Look how far in it lands too. Plenty of margin on that.
Still a game point for Sampras.
Oh.
That's another 13th ace.
The better shot you come up with, the more I'll put my serve right in the corner.
It is 1:15 local time out in California. A couple of hours drive from LA, from Palm Springs, about, depending on which way you go, about 15-20 minutes drive. We're at Indian Wells.
No blowout in this matchup today.
No.
Sampras' game has gone off a little bit, except for his serve. He made more shots in the first set. He's made more errors in the second set, but he's served better in the second set than he did in the first. That's kept him in the set so far.
30 love. Oh yeah.
Agassi just continuing, Cliff, to be so disciplined. Never going for the shot at the wrong time. You thought maybe he could have gone for it on that first backhand, but no, he waits patiently, gets really the one he wanted, and then takes it up the line. The short ball. Agassi gets a good height over the net, just inside the baseline.
Game points.
Another easy hole. He's had a few love games in this second set.
Will we see a tie break for the second set? Sampras has to win his serve for that to happen.
NBA Tonight, Tuesday through Saturday, late night on ESPN2.
You've worked hard. And as you plan for the future of the people who depend on you, you search for the right financial partner. In Pacific Life, you found it. Nearly half the Fortune 500 rely on the Pacific Life family of companies. With over 130 years of experience and more than $300 billion of managed assets. For your family or for business, discover the power of Pacific Life.
Still getting flakes? Maybe the problem is your dander shampoo. Neutrogena T-Gel works on all 3 major causes of flakes, which makes T-Gel head and shoulders above, well, you know who. Neutrogena T-Gel, recommended #1 by dermatologists.
Now get the Wall Street Journal delivered for 8 weeks at just 37 cents a day, a 50% savings. Call now 800-854-2200. That's 800-854-2200 for the Wall Street Journal.
Our exclusive coverage of the Tennis Masters Series, Indian Wells, is brought to you by Audi and by Neutrogena T-Gel Shampoo. It works. Welcome back to our live coverage of the Tennis Masters Series Indian Wells Championship match, number 3 and 4. That's their seeds here, folks. In truth, they are the number 1 and 2 players in the world. Still, make no mistake about it. They don't play as much as the top players right now. But Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi are in the latter stages of the second set. Agassi won the first in a tiebreak. Sampras serving here to get into a tiebreak for the second set. First serve called fault. Sampras doesn't like this one. There will be no overrule.
Late call there. Linesman there.
You can't see that, huh? Baseline was an easier call than that. It's too far away from him for the chair ump to make this call.
Absolutely. Pretty good to me. That could have been wide.
Yeah,
hard to see where it bounced there.
Yeah, but I think it clipped the line.
Usually it's the more athletic Sampras that wins these types of rallies. But Andre Agassi, as he told us, his biggest improvement is he's a better athlete. And he shows it in this point with great wheels in the opening point in game number 12.
I mean,